Hi there everyone and welcome. In this JavaScript project video, we are going to create a body mass index calculator app using plain JavaScript. The good news is you can use this application in your portfolio to stand out from the crowd. I put the source link inside the video description. Before directly jump right into the design part, let me show you how this BMI calculator works. First, what is BMI? BMI stands for Body Mass Index. It determines the health status of a person according to his or her weight. If your BMI is less than 8.5, it falls within underweight range. If your BMI is in between 8.5 and 24.9, it falls within the health weight range. And also, if your BMI is in between 25 and 29.9, then it falls within overweight range. If it is greater than 30, it falls within obesity range. So, scientifically, the BMI of a person calculated using this formula. BMI equals the weight of a person in kilogram divided by the height of a person in meter the power of 2. With that being said, this is how this application works. So first, inside this field, first you have to enter your height in centimeter. Let me say 108 centimeter, and then after that, enter the weight in kilogram. Here you have the weight entry field right here. From this weight entry field, you have to enter the weight in kilogram, right? Let me say 70 kilogram. And then when I click this calculate BMI button right here, it calculates the BMI of a person and puts the value inside this field. As you can see here, 20.6. And then according to the value of this BMI, it determines the weight status of a person. As you can see here, 21.6 is in between 8.5 and 24.9. It falls within the health weight range. As you can see here, the weight status is healthy weight, right? After comparing the BMI value within the scientific range, then it displays the weight status of a person over here. You see, let me change right here. Let me change the height 50 kilogram and then calculate again. Here we have 50.4 underweight. From here, this field, you can decrease the height right here. Let me say 160 meter, and then let me increase the weight of a person right here. Let me say 70 and calculate. As you can see here, 28.9. The person weight status is overweight, right? Here we have again. Let me increase the weight again. Increase, and then calculate right here. Here we have obesity, right? The weight of a person is above 30, right? So here we have, that's why we get this result. You see, this is cool, right? This application is cool, right? Not only this, as you can see here, this calculator, as you can see here, this application has a nice background having a linear gradient color right here. And also here we have two boxes, the inside box and the outside box having a nice box shadow. The good news is, to create this application, you don't need any HTML skills required, you don't need any CSS skills required, you don't need any JavaScript skills required. I'm going to show you from scratch. You can use this application in your portfolio. I put the source link inside this video description. With that being said, let's jump right into the design part. Alright everyone, and welcome. So to create this application, it's better to divide into 3 sections. In the first section, we are going to create the HTML part for this application. In the second section, we are going to create the CSS part for this application. Finally, in the last section, we are going to make this application functional using plain JavaScript. So, first, open this project folder inside VS Code. Alright, here we have the project folder right here. Now, after that, let me create index.html document. So, index.html. And then, after that, by pressing the Shift key with number 1 key, then after that, click tab right here. Then here we have the boilerplate for an HTML document right here. So now let me give the title of the project right here. Let me say this. And now after that, create a style.css document right here. Style.css. After that, we are going to link this style.css with an HTML document right here. So come over here inside this head element right here, and using a link tag, link href style.css, since this style.css and an HTML document is found on the theme directory. That's why we say href equals style.css. After that, we are going to create an index.js document right here. So index.js. Alright. Now, inside this body tag down below, we are going to link this JavaScript document with an index.html document right here. So to do this, we have a script tag right here. We have, as you can see, write script. While you write script right here, the base code displays an auto suggestion. So script, we have a source attribute. The value for this source attribute is the file name with its destination, right? As you can see here, and again, as you can see here, index.js document and index.html document are found on the theme directory. So you simply say index.js. Alright, so now we have just completed. Now let's jump right into the first section. In the first section, we are going to create the HTML part for this application. Oh yeah, to create this application, inside this body element, we are going to create a div element having a class name, let me say container. Again, inside this, we have an h2 element right here. Let me say body mass index or body mass index calculator app. After that, inside this again, we are going to create another div element having a class name. Let me say BMI container. You can assign any name as you want. The choice is up to you, right? So we have this div element. Inside this div element, we are going to create input and label field. So first, we are going to create another div element right here having a class name, let me say label input. Inside this, first we are going to create the label element right here, label, and the label for the first label, as you can see from this application, is enter your height in centimeter. After that, we need to have an input field in order to enter the height of a person in centimeter. So to do this, we have an input element right here, input. Then the type for this input is number, right? Number, right? And placeholder, let me say height in centimeter. After that, from here, let me give an ID value for this input field, since we are going to use this ID value in JavaScript to make this input field interactive. So ID, head, and name. Let me give the name for this input, head in centimeter. So when I save and refresh, here we have an input field right here, and here we have label enter your head in centimeter. However, from here, when I click this label enter your height, the cursor should point to enter the height of a person. So to do this, the value for the ID attribute and also the value for this attribute which is found inside this label field should have the same value. So for having a value just like this one ID. Alright, save and refresh again. Alright, so when I click this enter your height, the cursor points inside this input field to enter the height of a person in centimeter, right? Oh yeah, this is the first input field. Now let me create the weight entry field. To do this, simply copy this and paste right here. Oh yeah, now change this ID value, the type is the same, change this ID value, weight, ID instead of height, weight, and placeholder, weight in kilogram, and also the label field, the label enter your weight in kilogram, and also name, weight in kilogram, and also the value for the four attributes, just like this one. Here we have the second weight entry field. After that, we are going to create a button right here. So to do this, we have label input. Again, copy this and paste right here. Then delete this. Then button. Let me give an ID value BMI B10. Since we are going to use this ID value to make this button interactive using JavaScript. So calculate and then calculate BMI. After that, we are going to create another input field which enables us to display the BMI value of a person after calculating. So copy this and paste right here and then change this type. Instead of number, let me say text. And an ID to make this input field interactive, let me say input BMI, and then placeholder your BMI, and then for the label your BMI is, here we have name, BMI, and much more. After that, finally, after calculating the BMI of a person, the application compares the BMI of the person with the scientific value and then it displays its weight status. So we need to have this field right here. So copy this and paste right here. So having the same class name, label input. And then we are going to add another input field, another class name, let me say weight condition. For the label, let me say weight status is, and then down below we are going to create a span element, an empty span element, no text is passed right here, having an ID value weight status. When I save and refresh, here we have, right? This is the HTML section for this BMI Calculator app. In the next section, we are going to make this application attractive using CSS. Alright, and welcome. Here we have style.css. So, first we are going to use this universal selector right here. We have asterisk, and then margin 0, padding 0, box sizing, border box. After that, we use this body element selector right here, and then let me add some property value pair. So font size 60 pixel, font family, monospace, background. We use background having radial gradient with these three colors right here. Background size cover with 100% height 100 viewport height. After that, when I save and refresh the web page, here we have, right? After that, using this container class selector, now let me style this element which is found inside this div element have a class name container. So we are going to make these elements on the center, right? So to do this, we use some property value pair. Position absolute top 50%, left 50%, transform translate in the x direction by minus 50% and in the y direction by minus 50%. Box shadow 0 pixel, 0 pixel, 40 pixel having black color. With the width for this container, let me say 700 pixel. And then after that we use display right here, display flex. Align items, center, justify content, center. After that, when I save and refresh the web page, here we have, right? Oh yeah, this is right. Now we are going to make the element direction in column manner. So to do this, we use another flex property, which is flex direction equals column, and then border radius 20 pixel, right? Oh yeah, when I save and refresh, here we have, right? Now let me style this H2 element right here. So to do this, we use this descendant selector. We have a class selector container and an element selector H2. So padding for this element, let me say 10 pixel. Font style italic. Font size Turing, which is 2 times the global font size, which is 60 pixel, which is found inside the body element selector, right? Now we are going to add a text shadow for this text right here. So text shadow 0 pixel, 2 pixel, 8 pixel having a red color. Alright, after that, when I save and refresh, here we have. Now, let me style the label input element which is found inside this BMI container. So, margin, using this class selector right here, and margin one rim from top and bottom, two rim from left and right. After that, when I save and refresh, here we have. And then now let me add another property value pair, padding 8 pixels from top and bottom, 20 pixels from left and left and right, border radius 20 pixels, border none, background for this box. Let me use dark orange. Again, we need to have this box shadow right here. 0 pixel, 0 pixel, 40 pixel, having this shadow color, right? Dark shadow color, right? And then with 100%. When I save and refresh, here we have just created another box having a background color dark orange, right? After that, now we are going to style the div element having a class name label input. So to do this, we use this class name label input. We are going to make some property value pair. Padding for this 8 pixels again from top and bottom. After that, we are going to align the item in flex direction. So display flex justify content a space between and then flex direction column, right? After that, when I save and refresh, here we have, right? Using this input element selector right here, input, let me add some property value here. Let me remove the outline. Outline, none, font size 1.2 rem, padding 10 pixels, and also let me remove the border for the input field. So border none. When I save and refresh, here we have an input field, no border, no outline, with padding 10 pixels from top and bottom, 10 pixels from left and right. After that, now we are going to style the text which is found in this placeholder. So to do this, we are going to use this placeholder selector. Color, let me say dark gray. Oh yeah, this is. Now let me style this button right here. So to do this, it's better to use this ID selector right here to style in different way, right? So we have an ID selector BMI btn. Copy this and paste right here. So while using the ID selector, the ID value should preceded by a hash symbol, right? Instead of period, it should be preceded by a hash mark right here. So BMI btn, font size 1.2 rem, padding 10 pixels from top and bottom, 20 pixels from left and right, width for this button 100%, border radius 20 pixels, text transform, uppercase, cursor, pointer, border also none, background, dark orange, font family, let me say mono space, and then we are going to add a box shadow for this button. Let me say 0 pixel, and 40 pixel having a black box shadow. So when I save and refresh, here we have a calculate BMI button right here. After that, now let me add a hover over effect. While we click this button, let me add some transitions and hover over effect. So to do this, we use copy this and paste right here and remove this again, and then we use a hover pseudo class selector and add some property value pair. Background, here we have color, text color, white, and box shadow, again copy this box shadow right here. So here we have. For the time being, this button is not functional, rather it's only the CSS part. We are going to make this button functional in the next section using JavaScript. Now this is the CSS part. So when I click this button, it has a nice transition, as well as we have a nice hover over effect. Now let me add a paragraph right here. Over here, over the div element having a class name container, let me add a paragraph element having a class name, let me say paracontainer. So now let me add some text which showcases a scientific proven fact about BMI. Oh yeah, here we have. Now using this class selector paracontainer, let me add some property value pair to style this paragraph. Padding 1 rem from top and bottom, 3 rem from left and right, and also font family. Let me use this times New Roman, Times, and Serif. Font size 1.2 rem, having a background color. Let me use this. After that, when I save and refresh, here we have. Now we have just completed the CSS part for this application. In the next section, we are going to make this application functional using JavaScript. Let's dive right in. Alright, and welcome. Now we are going to make this application functional. To do this, we are going to use JavaScript. As you can see here, when I click this button, then the number input from here, let me say 120 and 56, it should calculate the BMI of a person and display over here. As you can see here, nothing is displayed right here. Console. Here we have console, so nothing is displayed. So to do this, first we are going to access the button element right here. To access this button element, we use its ID value. Here we have an ID value right here. And then we are going to access over here. First, let me create a variable. Let me say const BMI button equals document dot get element by ID document. Since we are going to target all the documents dot get element by ID, here we have a button's ID value, right? So from here we are going to create event listeners for this button. So to do this, copy this and paste right here, and we are going to create add event listener method to handle a click event, right? So there are so many events. The first argument, so from here we are going to pass two arguments. The first argument is we are going to pass two parameters. The first parameter or the first argument is the event. In this case, we are going to pass a click event. There are so many events. We have mouse over event, we have on change event, we have mouse out event, and so many events are there in JavaScript. But here we are going to pass a click event. So click, and the second argument is a callback function. Let me say BMI calculator. BMI calculator. This is a callback function. No matter, I will define it as the moment. So this is a callback function. A callback function is a function passed as an argument in another function. So now we are going to create this callback function right here. So function, and then we have a callback function BMI calculator. From here, when I click the button, this function should perform something, right? We are going to perform different operations when I click this button right here. Let me say console.log, and then you click me. You click me. After that, save and refresh. As you can see here, when I click the button right here, it says you click me, right? Inside the console, it says you click me, and it increases When I click it, the number increases just like this one, right? So now from here we access the button right here using its ID value. Now let's do the real operation. So now what we are going to do is we are going to access the height value and the weight value. To do this, so copy this, and inside this callback function, paste right here and paste right here. Now change for height value, let me say input height, and then we are going to access the value for the input using its ID value right here. So copy this, the ID value is height, and change right here. And also for the weight value, let me declare a variable input weight. You can, by the way, you can assign any variable name as you want. It's up to you, right? And then to access the weight value, we have an ID value right here, weight, and paste right here. So now, when I click from here, when I click the button should access the weight and the height value, right? Now, to understand it better, let me show you what will happen inside the console. So console.log, then input height, and input weight. Let me save and refresh to show what will happen if I click the button, right? So from here, when I click the button right here, it automatically targets the two input field right here. We have the height entry field and we have the weight entry field right here. Now refresh again, and now let me enter some value for the height and some value for the weight. Let me say for the height 150 centimeter, and for the weight let me say 60 kilogram. And then when I click the button right here, you see here we have the input field right here. Alright, in order to access this value right here, 150 and 60, come over here and we are going to target the value rather than the input field. So to do this we use dot value, right? The major aim is to access the value for the height and the value for the weight, not the input field, right? So to do this we use value dot value, again dot value. Alright, after that save and refresh again. Let me enter a height value, let me say 150 centimeter, and weight, let me say again 60 kilogram. So when I click this button right here, we have 150 and 60. You see? Now, as you can see here, we have just accessed the height value and the weight value. Now we are going to make this button to perform some mathematical operation. After accessing these two values, we are going to calculate the BMI of a person. BMI equals the weight of a person in kilogram divided by the height of a person in meter, the power of 2. So let me comment out this. So to do this, let me declare another variable, let me say const, and let me say variable name BMI equals input weight divided by input height times input height. This centimeter into meter. To do this, we are going to divide the entry by 100, right? Since this way of writing is boring, so it's better to write just using the math, right? So math, then dot math dot we are going to use the power function. So power, then this power function takes two arguments. The first argument is the base and the second argument is the power. So from here the base is the height in meters, so input height, and the second argument is, let me enclose this inside curly braces. Alright, here we have. Now let me observe what will happen inside the console. Now we are going to pass BMI right here. Save and refresh the web page. So now let me enter the height value and the weight value. Let me say 180 centimeter and the weight, let me say 80 kilogram. So now when I click this calculate button, here we have the BMI of a person. If the person has 180 centimeter and 80 kilogram, his or her weight is 24.69 something. Let me increase the height of a person. Here we have the BMI of the person having a height of 109 centimeter and a weight of 80 kilogram. As you can see here we have a number having multiple decimal points. So to minimize or to round this decimal point into 1, let me use another method right here. So we use 2 to fix it, right? We are going to round it into either 1 or 2. For the time being, let me say 1. So 1, and save and refresh and enter the weight again. Let me say 180 centimeter and 80 kilogram. Calculate again. Here we have 25, right? Let me enter 189. Calculate again. Oh, we are going to enclose this inside curly braces. Alright, now here we have. After that, when I enter the height 180 centimeter and the weight again 780 kilogram, then calculate the BMI. Here we have the BMI is round into 1 decimal place, 24.7. Enter 189 and calculate BMI. Here we have this button is functional now. Now this BMI should display inside this field, right? Oh yeah. To do this, first we are going to access this field using its ID value, right? So the ID value for this field is, here we have, right? Here we have the field input BMI. So const then BMI value, let me say BMI value equals, then document get element by ID, then we have an ID value input BMI, comment out this, and then from here BMI value, since we are going to target this input field, so from here BMI equals BMI, right? From here, let me show you what will happen inside the console. So console.log BMI value, then refresh the web page. After that, when I click the button right here, we face uncount type error right here. Let me enter the weight in the height 180 and 56 kilogram, and then calculate BMI. We face uncount type error right here, assignment to constant variable, right? So from here we are going to, after calculating the BMI, we are going to enter the value inside this input field. So to do this, we use this value again. Now save and refresh the web page. Here we have, as you can see here, we access this input field, right? Here we have NaN, empty, right? This input field is now empty since we have not entered the height value as well as the weight value. Let me show you by entering the weight and the height of a person. Let me say the height of a person, let me say 170 centimeter, and also the weight of a person in kilogram, let me say 60 kilogram. After that, when I click this calculate button right here, you see here we have the value 20.8. Now close this. Let me increase. You can increase using this. Here we have 190 and calculate the BMI of a person. Here we have 60. You can increase the weight of the person from here and calculate BMI. Here we have, again, we can increase or decrease by using these buttons right here. You see, it is a cool feature, right? Alright, now congratulations, we have just finished the first section for this JavaScript. Now, what we left is, after this application calculates the BMI of a person, then it should compare the BMI of a person with a standard value that is placed scientifically. Based on that comparison, this application should display the weight status of the person, whether that person has underweight or whether that person falls in the range of overweight or whether that person falls in the range of healthy weight. So to do this, we are going to use a combination of logical operators and also conditional statements. Here we have if, then we have a condition right here, BMI. If the BMI of a person less than 80, then so from here we have the weight status. The weight status should display over here, so we have to target over this, right? So to do this, we have a span element right here. We are going to put the weight status inside this field, right? So to do this, we use this weight status right here, weight status ID value. So copy this ID value and come over here and paste right here, then dot weight status dot inner text equals if the BMI of a person less than 80, therefore the inner text should be, here we have underweight, right? Copy this and paste right here. Now when I save and refresh, now let me enter the height of a person 109 centimeter and the weight of a person, let me say 50 kilogram, and now calculate BMI. It says underweight, right? It says underweight, right? Alright, here we have. So now let me add some property value pair. The alignment for this text should be on the same row and also the color become green, right? So to do this, we use this ID selector right here. We have just added another class selector right here, weight condition. So using this class selector and using this ID value right, using this span element selector right here, let me add some property value pair. So here we have weight condition display line block, and then using this span element color dark green, font weight bold, text transform capitalize. After that, when I save and refresh, here we have, right? This is right. This is the application that we interested in, right? Now come over here in the JavaScript part and now copy this again and paste right here 3 more times. Alright, now over here we are going to use logical operators. So as if now if BMI greater than or equal to 80, and we use double ampersand symbol for the AND logical operator in JavaScript, and BMI less than, here we have BMI less than or equal to 24.9, it follows healthy weight, right? So less than or equal to 24.9, it falls under the range of healthy weight, right? And then it copies this again and paste right here. Again, as you can see here, if the BMI of a person falls in the range of 20.5.0 and 29.9, it falls in the overweight range. So copy this and paste right here and paste right here. Now change this 25, it falls in between 25 and 29.9, right? If the BMI greater than, then we use the else statement, else we remove this, it's not necessary, right? And then the person falls within this range, right? And now when I save and refresh the web page, so let me enter kilo 109 centimeter and 50 centimeter and calculate BMI. Here we have underweight. This person found in underweight range. Let me enter another height. Let me say 180 centimeter and weight, let me say 78 kilogram, and calculate again. Here we have 24.1. It's found between 80 and 24.9. So this person has weight status, health weight. Now let me increase the weight of a person right here. Let me say 97 kilogram. Calculate again. You see, this person, the BMI of the person is 29.9. So this person falls in the overweight range. Let me increase again. Let me say 100 kilogram and calculate. Here we have, right? Alright, congratulations! You have just learned a lot about JavaScript. We have just finished this BMI Calculator app. You can use this application in your portfolio to stand out from the crowd, right? The good news is I put the source code inside this video description. So go ahead and you can download it. If this content is valuable, make sure to subscribe and press the notification bell icon to be notified while I come out a daily project videos just like this one. With that being said, thank you for watching. I will see you in the next JavaScript project.